Beautiful people, what's happening? Hey, welcome to my little new endeavor here, and it's been on my mind for a while. I spoke to, well, I reached out for a couple different individuals to see if they want to kind of help me with this. Uh, they're a little bit busy, tied up, I understand. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just kind of maneuver my way on, and hopefully I deliver the right material, information, message at the same time. Hopefully this will encourage those who may have been a little bit hesitant about joining on and putting their face out there, or their fingerprints on it, um, to kind of maybe join me. Even if they don't want to be on camera, just give me some input uh, behind the scenes, so to speak. So what this is I don't really have a title for it, but it's hopefully the scope of it would be to broaden the awareness of the actual uh, our part when it comes to law and government. I know that's a super big circle, a great, huge endeavor. I'm not trying to unpack everything, but if we can maybe open some eyes, introduce some things to people, maybe that begins to peel back some of the layers of this mysterious government, city government, state government, uh, school laws. So it's a lot of things. Um, and like I said, the reason that it's been on my mind to do this for a while now, after speaking, it's crazy part, speaking to my youngest son, and this was a couple years ago. Um, one of the things I took out of the conversation we was having at a particular time was uh, his words to me were somewhere along the line of, "Damn, Dad, um, it seems like police only pull over uh, black kids and Latino kids, my friends." And knowing that, that's not a shock, but I guess as a father, and then as someone who's really trying to just do my part in the community, it kind of resonated with me to just kind of step back and see some things and reflect on what it was to be his age when I was his age, you know. And what dawned on me, and I share this with my wife, I share this with my sister, other grown people, and I'm going to share it with you. And then I just want you to, reflect, be honest with yourself. So, um, in my educational years, from kindergarten or preschool, we're not going to talk about preschool, but preschool through graduation of 12th grade, completion of 12th grade. And this doesn't even have to be you graduated 12th grade and got the diploma. You could have dropped out. You could have graduated in 11th grade. You could have been held back and graduated, a year after. My point is, from preschool to or from preschool to graduation, I was never taught law. You was taught the basic fundamentals of English and math and history and science. Um, I know sometimes you might have had to take a government class. That government class showed you about the hierarchy of the president, vice president, blah, 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 gross national product, things like that. Nothing to really go into law. They talked about the three branches of law: executive, legislative, congressional, all that, whatever that is, right? But they didn't really teach you about law. With all of that said, in my days in school, I'm sure you did too, from the authority figures in the school, you heard, hey, little whatever your name is, insert name, make sure you're a law abiding citizen, obey all the laws. But I'm not taught law, so how am I supposed to be a law abiding citizen? See, so that really dug into, when I asked those questions to these other people, they was like, wow, yeah, no, I didn't know. So they tell you to be a law abiding citizen, but they don't teach you the law. So I took it a step further, and to my son's point, uh, most of the time, from my perspective, most of the time, I know for myself and some of my friends and family members, the first run in, the first interaction that you have with a police officer, the first question out of your mouth is, well, what did I do? Because you don't know the law. And then, they go on with their little spill. But that's generally how it works. And just taking that all in, understand, I've reached out to different law enforcement officers, uh, lawyers, just to see if someone would partner with me, assist me, accompany me on this. Because what I'm trying to attempt to do is peel away some of the onions that go into the generational burdens of the inherent barriers that black folks, and not only black folks, but black folks in particular, uh, have succumbed to because of a lot of things that are put in place but never really explained. So, my first thought was, I wanted to really do something focused on K through 6 to educate young folks on just the basic fundamentals of law because I think it's important to get them while they're young and educate them on things such as jaywalking. Uh, you know, uh, what happens if you put something in your pocket at the store? Did you honestly do it, or did you forget, or was you attempting to steal? What happens if you steal something from your classmate? What if you hit somebody? Um, Again, the law. And now you bring all of that together. Now you put that student who may have unknowingly violated the law has now violated the school law of the education code. So many different things. Okay, um, that same student might do something that violates municipality codes. So it's so many different things we set our young folks up for failure. And that's not only young folks, because like I said, some of the times our first interactions, generally, and I could be wrong, I'm always open for feedback, is when a young person such as myself gets in a car for the first time and we're driving. We read a book to learn how to drive. They gave us some of the basic rules to driving. They gave us some of the most important laws to driving. Don't drive drunk, don't speed, but it's the little things like the little light over your license plate. That was my first time ever getting pulled over. Didn't know it was necessary, so I think it's just so many different things, and that's why I wanted to just start this process to kind of get the ball going on educating not just young folks, but specifically young folks, and then anybody else who was just, I didn't know that. I didn't know those things. A lot of it we do know because of what others have been through or what we've had life experiences, have been through. And now we do know, but we didn't know prior to that. And so maybe that would have made the outcome or that event or that interaction a little bit different, right? So, like I said, this right now, again, I don't really have like a title or a show or nothing like that. I'm hopefully that this is going to be something like a once a week kind of thing where maybe 30 minutes, hopefully less than that, because I know some people don't have that much time, or maybe you can watch the condensed version somewhere along the line when you do have time. But I definitely do want to hopefully do my best to share some of the information that I have, that I learned along the way, that hopefully I can get some input from some community service employees. I don't know if some of you have seen some of the other things I've done, but I was just with some of my good friends, shout out Troy and Shannon. We do another show called The Third Show, where we try to, give insight and encourage people to be active in the city that they live in, their community, their neighborhood. And I made it clear that from this point on, and again, this is probably why law enforcement officers don't want to be seen with me or associate with me or assist me. But then again, that says a lot about their character to me. So I refuse going this day forward to call the police. The word itself brings baggage. the word itself creates this image, and we need to get away from that. I'm not saying we don't need police. What I am saying is we need to rethink their role and how they're perceived. They are employed by the city. They're city employees. They should be labeled as such: city employees, community service participants, community service servants, whatever. But we have to, if we're really going to be transparent and think and educate the folks and make sure everybody's cool, to me, that's the start. I could be totally wrong. You may disagree with me. Totally fine. However, that's my thought because I understand how words have impact. Um, and on top of that, their role is to serve the community, not hunt and murder, not patrol and confine. Uh, they like to say protect and serve. Protect us from whom? One another? Serve us how? You know, man, so many things into the word. However, before I get off track on that, just want to say that's where, so going forward, you will hear me refer to them as community service employees or servants or whatever the case may be. Um, so we need to understand that. That's probably, again, why some of those folks would rather not work with me, and that's totally fine. So I will try to get as much information when it comes to the penal code, city codes, municipalities, whatever, so we can hopefully shed some light on some of those things. Because let's face it, you know, I think all of us as black parents, and I'm specifically being intent right now, black parents, no matter how old your child gets, once they start to drive, there's that added level of concern and worriness and uneasy, and you have that in your stomach. Will my child make it home if they have an interaction with the police? You know, that's a real thing. That's a real fact of black people's lives. Um, and on top of before they drive, what they might have to endure, and now we add this privilege to drive, um, and now that becomes a whole different level of anxiety for many of us. Again, no matter how old they are, no matter how old the parent is, you still have that concern. Same concern goes for wives, I'm sure. So I'm hoping that we can educate. Feel free to leave any comments. You know how to reach me if you know me. If you don't know me, you probably know somebody that knows me or seen me or whatever. I'm easy to get to. I didn't think this was the platform to do a live kind of interaction because I don't want to get going off track because I can do that easily myself. So, like I said, I don't know how long these are going to take. Hopefully, they're not longer than 30 minutes. But what I want to go to today, because you can't save everybody, but I want to go as far back to the beginning to save those young folks before they get to a spot where it's not, I don't want to say it's too late, but it's just more of a challenge. So the first thing I want to touch on today in this particular time frame is school. Um, Again, that education code I did not know of. I didn't even know it existed. I got 3 kids who went through school, graduated the whole 9 in college, and didn't know about this education code. The education code basically is the legislation in written form that governs how schools operate, all the way from the superintendent to electing school board members to forming an alliance with the community, separating districts, who's allowed to go to what schools in what area, how does the teachers union negotiate their contracts and their pay, uh, to discipline, to athletics, what is right, what is wrong, taxes, who gets tax breaks, who gets more money, what the population, charter school definitions, community colleges, and so forth. This education code, like I say, is encompassing. It's huge. I just put my hands on one today again, and he's got to be about that thick. And again, those pages are Bible pages thin. Bible pages thin, that thick. You can imagine how many words are in there to cover so many things. A lot of things we don't even know as parents exist within our schools. One thing that I've come to find out is this, and again, I'm probably going to have a lot of teachers, and that's fine because I'm always open for conversation because I talk facts. I don't make up. This education thing is huge. So, what I come to find out, this education code, some of those laws and codes haven't been touched since the 70s. It's the 70s, okay? But now we're in 2021, and things that might have been okay in 2019 are already obsolete. So imagine what those 70 codes look like, okay? A lot of the code allows for interpretation by the districts, by the superintendent in that district. So, for example, if my son uh, paints a black power fist in the district he goes to, the superintendent has it at their discretion to say, well, that's a hate crime, you're expelled. Okay? It's not that easy, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. They can make that conclusion. Whereas in that same district, that same superintendent can see a white child scrawl out a swastika sign and then come to the conclusion that that's just art. That's just freedom of the First Amendment of expression. And we don't even do nothing about that. We're good. You can check that for facts if you want. If we've had those incidents in this town, in this county, in this state, in this country. So you can see where there's this difference at. All right, those are some of the problems that exist in the education code. You have the state Department of Education, California Department of Education, run by Superintendent Tony Thurmond. I've reached out for him for a number of times, still won't return my call. But again, these things have to change there. We can hoot and holler all we want to at the principal, but the principal is just a puppet. The principal is just an overseer. The principal is just there to be an extension of the school, to talk to you, make sure everything is running right. Everybody's trying to fall in line under this education code, right? So I would my first thought would be I urge every parent that has a student in school, go participate in the school board meetings. Get involved with the PTA. I know it sounds corny, but if you ever been involved with the PTA or you know how they operate, you know if there's a bake sale, they're going to make $5,000 in 1 week. If the marching band trailer wheel got a flat, they got 2 new tires and then 4 extra. That's how serious they operate. So you need to know who they are. The school board, they pretty much say, okay, this is the curriculum we're going to use. These are the books we're going to use. They negotiate the contracts with your teachers. A lot of that goes into school board meetings. You can go to the school board meetings. They're free for you to attend. They're open for you to attend. They are open for you to share your voice. You can share your comments, not only in public comment time, but also if they're talking about a certain item you have questions on, you can politely, you don't have politely, but you can ask to speak and ask questions on that. Why is that? Okay? Why did the girls basketball team get a new uniform when the robotics department needed $500 and they didn't get it? These are all the things you are allowed to participate in. But I will tell you, all the school board meetings I go to, I look around and it's empty in there. Maybe 1 or 2 parents at the max, maybe they may show up when it's award night for whatever. But I want to tell you how important it is that you show up. You can complain about why this student got away with this and your student didn't. And then you're probably going to complain to the teacher and the principal, and then they're going to probably tell you some stuff. Oh, well, you know, it's education code. We really can't do much, but this is what we done. We'll get back to you. All right? Take it a step further. Go to the school board, see what's going on. Again, a lot of the things administrators want to do, they don't want to take the necessary time because it's too cumbersome. So on every, every district's website, there's a link to their uniform complaint form. Uniform complaint form. If you are not happy with your teacher, your principal, the the, the cafeteria cooker, you can, or school board members, superintendent, you can fill out uniform complaint form, submit it. They only got so much time. I think it's 30 days to respond to you. Okay, that's a little tricky too because they do their own internal investigation, which I've never understood internal investigation. That is asking the wolf to question himself why he ate the chickens. I don't understand that, but again, that's the process. So, uniform complaint form is on every district's website. Find it there if you ever have any problems in the school. Okay. Again, I know I'm getting off the board a little bit, but I want to bring myself back and get to my point today is I want to talk about attendance because a lot of the clickbait, a lot of the hot items, a lot of some of the organizations, the movements you see now are talking about preschool to prison pipeline. You hear a lot of, they already set you up in second grade to see how many prisons are going to be needed in 18 years or 16 years or whatever the case is. You see all this money, large corporations, Congress folks, politicians involved in prisons getting financial reward. They don't put their name on it, but somewhere if you trace the money, you'll see because it's a business, right? Now, you can conspiracy theorize with that if you want to. That's up to you. I'm saying if it is true, then we need to address it. Where do we address it? We address it in the beginning. That's with this attendance. So we all know, I'm sure you've heard it in your circle, you know, hey, the schools just want their money for my kid to show up. Okay, you're right. We can't, that's the elephant in the room. The elephant is in the room. The school does need your money to get that, or the school does need your child to get a certain amount of money based on seats. We all know that. Cool. Let's move beyond that because we know that. The purpose of attendance in its realest form is to make sure child A is getting the education child A deserves. End the conversation. That's what attendance is for. Make sure child A gets child A's education. That is there for them, free for the taking. Free unless you go to private school. Different story. But still, this whole idea of attendance versus money, we have to step back. If we're truly trying to make a change, truly, really, honest to God, trying to make a change, let money go. Your child needs to be in attendance to get their education. One day they miss is a day they fell behind. If they make it up, outstanding. You start adding up so many days, now you're putting the onus on your child to make up those days they miss. Again, anything can happen. They could have got sick. You could have got sick. You could have been put out of your house. You had to move. Anything. We understand that. I'm just talking about normal day-to-day activities. Missing one day, missing another day, missing another day puts the onus on our child to stay or to stay on course and then to catch up what they missed. We got to change that. Every day is important. Children don't have nothing else to do at school age but go to school. Unless, again, there's things going on, which our exceptions are made for. But for the most part, they need to be in school to learn. That's it. Even right now during the pandemic, when a lot of schools are doing distant learning, they need to log on. I had this whole thing. I'm still on it. Log in. Just log in. You have nothing else to do. You should be so dedicated to your children's education that you force them to log in. Granted, I know some of you might say, I work all day. I don't know what they do at the house. Okay, that's fine. Call them. Make sure they're logged in. Give them rewards or something. I know you shouldn't have to give a child a reward, but you have to do something to make sure your child is getting their education. Don't think that they've been out of school since March of last year, and then you expect whenever school does go back in, I don't know when that is, but when it does, that they're just going to pop right back in and be on course for what they was learning, and like they didn't miss anything. That's just doesn't make any sense because school is still moving along. So understand this. you had a child in school before COVID, they was getting 100% of the curriculum. That's a different story, the curriculum, but they're getting 100% of that curriculum. Now COVID, they go home. It's totally impossible for a teacher to teach 100% of of the curriculum because that's just not it's not factual. It's not practical that we would assume that parents and students can learn 100% of the curriculum at home without the direct assistance from a teacher, other than 3 hours on the computer. All right, so scaled it back. You're probably getting 50% now. You're probably getting 50% of curriculum, all right, in a distant learning atmosphere. And now you have that child miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Imagine how much they've missed, especially Black and Latinos, Asians, Samoans, Hindus. All right, imagine what we've missed. Okay, so you have to understand the importance of attending, of logging in. Now, again, what I want to say is now in distant learning environment, it's not the normal, 8 to 3 o'clock class. You're looking at 8:30 to 11:30, maybe 12:30. It's 4 hours of logging in. This is the funny thing I heard. I heard a parent in another city, and this was just in just general conversation, says, "I think my son's eyes are starting to deteriorate because of online learning." And my immediate response was, I wonder how much time that child spends on the phone or on playing video games. So we have to be cognizant of how we say things and really what we're intending to say. All right. So back to attendance. We have to attend. So this whole notion of preschool to prison pipeline. Attendance, you can only miss so many days. Per the California Education Code, and this I'm sure extends to different states, but I'm just talking specifically right now California. Every district has what they call S.A.R.B, S-A.R.B, School Attendance Review Board. All right, every district has one. School Attendance Review Board. All right, I'm cheating. I got it right here. You can look it up. I don't make, like I said, I speak in matter of facts because facts is what it is, right? So your student is allowed to miss a certain amount of days. Let's just say 10. All right. After that certain number, a letter is sent to the parent or sent to you. Then they say, hey, child A is missing a lot of classes. Hey, can we remedy this? What's going on? Can we assist? Blah blah blah. Or let's pick it up. And then you say, hey, we was moving or blah blah blah. Okay, bet. Some more days come along and you miss those. Now another letter sent out. So from my understanding, there's 3 letters get sent out, and then things don't pick up. Our attendance doesn't pick up. Now here comes S.A.R.B. Again, S.A.R.B is it started. The process is started by the school. Then the district is brought in. Okay, say, hey, listen, you've missed 50 days. That's unacceptable. We're going to put you on this contract, this S.A.R.B contract. What does it say? School Attendance Review Board. We're going to put you on this contract. In this contract, it says, hey, listen, you can't miss no days. And if you do, you have to have a written notice from the doctor or whatever it is. There was a reason. It has to be validated. That's the bottom line. Once you get into the S.A.R.B contract, it has to be validated. Okay? In the S.A.R.B contract, it has its good and its bad. And you just got to figure out how it's affecting us. Okay? One point, it keeps you, once you start, let's say K through 6, you get S.A.R.B in 2nd grade. Stays on your record till you get to 6th grade. Then it goes away. You start fresh in middle school. Let's just say you get S.A.R.B in middle school. You get out of middle school, it goes away. You start fresh for high school. Okay? So you have chances, but the whole point is you're put in this. All right? And I'm saying all that to get you to the point of the importance of S.A.R.B. All right, so it was effectively for high truancy or high absenteeism, and not to just send people or students straight to truancy, to court, and put them in that. However, S.A.R.B can lead to court, okay? That's what I'm trying to avoid. Because to me, Once you're S.A.R.B'd, once you've missed those days, now you've been put on a S.A.R.B contract. You violate the S.A.R.B contract, now the district has to escalate. That next escalation is to court, juvenile court. Okay? What have we done to this second grader, this third grader, this fifth grader? Once they go into court with their parent, they've been introduced to court. They've been introduced to the legal system. They've been introduced to armed patrolmen, community service employees. They've been introduced to a judge, to a bailiff, to the court reporter, to court times, to other folks who have violated the law for whatever reason. We've introduced all of those things of the legal environment to young folks, and not in a positive way. We didn't, as a parent, take them down there on our own and introduce them to the chief of the community service folks. We didn't say, hey, listen, this is how the justice system works. No. They were sent there because of attendance. Because of attendance, a child has been put into the legal system. Now they sit in front of a judge for that judge to hand down penalties. All right? That's the introduction. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be in kindergarten. It could be in 10th grade. It could be in 12th grade. But again, the point remains, a child, because that's what they are, 17, 8, you're a child, has been introduced into the justice system. The immunity starts. The immunity to guns, the immunity to community service folks, the immunity to being watched and guarded, referred to as a number, because you know in court they call out a docket number, then they call your name, just like prison. So yeah, I may be overemphasizing some things, but if it saves one child from getting into the system and stopping that pipeline, I have no problems overemphasizing. I have no problems doing what I'm doing right now, even if some of my community service friends don't want to participate. No one told me any of these things. I didn't know about S.A.R.B. And like I said, I had 3 children go through school. Didn't know nothing about S.A.R.B. Didn't know the impacts of attendance. I knew it didn't help, but I didn't know like the ramifications of where it could go. No one ever told me. So that's what S.A.R.B. is. That's how important attendance is. That's part of the education code. Do some of these things need to be changed? Yes. How do you change them? Well, first you get involved and you get engaged and you talk to your principal, and then you talk to the school board members, and then you talk to the superintendent. By the way, school board members are elected, just like your mayor, just like the president. They're elected by you. You can vote for your school board members. And then they hire the superintendent. The elected body that you voted for then elects the superintendent of that district. Okay? That's a whole different world, but you have to understand that process. Okay? How do we change these things? How do we make sure our students are being treated fairly? You know, I'm not saying S.A.R.B. is a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm explaining to you that it is there. It exists. And this is what you right now and your student are governed by, this S.A.R.B. when it comes to attendance. Okay? I don't know how much time that was. It was probably longer than what I expected. I hope it was something you didn't know, and I helped you and shed some light on it, introduced it to you. I hope if it is something new, you share with your family members, you share with your friends. Then I hope you understand how the impact is on your family as far as attendance if you have students, okay? And even if you have nephew or nieces or grandchildren, the importance of attending, not just in school physically, but online right now. Because without the proper information, not attending can lead to so much more than just missing a simple assignment or 10. All right, beautiful people, thank you for joining me. Again, I don't really have no fancy thing. This is just going to be something. Hopefully, I will see you again next Thursday. Hopefully, I have some new information and possibly codes or other educational law information to share with you. Until then, be well, hug somebody, tell them you love them. I'm out.